You've probably heard of a book that's been called everything from a masterpiece to a manipulator's handbook. It's Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction. It's this absolutely fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty controversial look into the psychology of charm and power. So in this explainer, we're going to break down its most compelling ideas.
The book kicks off with this quote from a 17th century courtesan, and wow, does it set the stage. This tells you right away we're not talking about typical romance here. This is about strategy, it's about intellect, and what Greene basically presents as a very subtle kind of warfare.
And that brings us to the book's central, really challenging question. It just forces you to look past all the fuzzy romantic notions and ask yourself, when we're talking about seduction, are we really talking about love, or are we talking about power? All right, Section 1, Seduction is Power. Greene's main argument is totally uncompromising on this. The entire art of seduction, it is fundamentally about power. It's a game of influence. Think about it. In our modern world, you can't just use brute force to get what you want, right? Society frowns on that. So power had to get more subtle, more psychological. And seduction, Greene argues, is that subtle power. It's the art of making people want to do what you want them to do, to make them surrender their will and actually feel good about it.
And according to Greene, this is nothing new. He traces its evolution, saying it all started as a tool for women like Cleopatra to gain some influence. Then, by the 17th century, guys get in on the act, mastering seductive language. In the 18th century, it becomes the key to climbing the social ladder. And today? Well, he argues it's being used on all of us, on a massive scale.
Okay, so how does this actually work? The book's most crucial point is that real seduction isn't some checklist of things to do. It all starts with your character, or more accurately, the character you choose to project. A seductive character, in this sense, is someone with this almost hypnotic quality. They have an aura that just pulls you in, that gets you feeling emotional and lowers your defenses before they've even really done anything. You don't even notice you're being manipulated because you're just so captivated by who they are.
Greene breaks this all down into 9 seductive archetypes. Each one is basically designed to tap into some universal human fantasy or weakness. Let's dig into 2 of the most potent examples he gives.
First up, we've got the siren. This is the archetype that represents the ultimate male fantasy. Now, this idea of release is everything. The siren's real power, according to Greene, isn't just about being sexy. It's about offering a total escape from the rules, from responsibility. She represents this world of pure pleasure and adventure, an escape from a life that, maybe secretly, feels a little constraining.
And you can't find a better example of a siren than Cleopatra. So let's look at her legendary introduction to Julius Caesar. She'd been exiled by her own brother, and Caesar was in her palace. She had to get to him, she had to win him over, and she did it with pure, unforgettable spectacle.
I mean, just imagine the scene. A merchant unrolls a carpet for Caesar, and out tumbles the young queen. Caesar was just spellbound, not just by her beauty, but by her sheer nerve, her audacity. And this was the siren's whole method, a non-stop performance of lavish parties and spectacle. But then, just when he thought he had her, she'd pull away, become distant, forcing him to chase her. He never really possessed her. He ended up worshiping her.
So the siren's power really comes from this whole toolkit. You've got an intoxicating voice, a dazzling, always changing appearance. There's constant drama and variety, and that crucial little bit of danger and elusiveness. Think of someone like Marilyn Monroe, that mix of obvious sexuality with this vulnerable, almost childlike innocence. It's a combination that's just irresistible and keeps the target completely off balance.
All right, now let's talk about the siren's male counterpart, the rake. If the siren is all about the ultimate male fantasy, the rake is designed to tap into a really powerful female one.
Greene's theory is that a woman's deepest desire is to feel intensely wanted. The rake's power, it's his ability to give her exactly that feeling. Yeah, he might be disloyal, he might be immoral, but in the moment, his attention is absolute. He makes his target feel like she's the only woman in the entire world.
A perfect example of this is the young Duc de Richelieu in the court of Louis XIV. The court was super stuffy, rigid, totally boring. And then in walks this teenager, who was witty, charming, and just outrageously bold. His hands wandered, he said shocking things. His total unrestrained nature was so thrilling that even when the king threw him in the Bastille, the court ladies literally begged for his release. They couldn't stand the boredom without him.
So the rake's appeal is built on these qualities.
He's bold and unrestrained in a world that's all about caution. He seems to be a complete slave to his desire for women, which is incredibly flattering. His dangerous reputation only makes him more alluring. I mean, if so many women have fallen for him, there must be a reason, right? And crucially, he's a master of language. He knows exactly what to say.
So when you put them side by side, you can really see how they work. Both archetypes are fulfilling a deep-seated fantasy. The siren offers adventure and pleasure through visual spectacle. The rake offers adoration and attention through intense focus. They're really just two sides of the same strategic coin. Each one promises something the target feels is missing from their life.
You know, it's tempting to look at these as just, historical stories or something out of a romance novel. But Greene's whole point is that this ancient art is now more relevant than ever. The book's core premise is that these exact same tactics, creating a fantasy, stirring up emotion, promising pleasure, having this alluring presence, they've all been scaled up, and now they're used to persuade us on a mass scale, every single day. Just think about it for a second. A political campaign isn't really about the boring policy details, is it? It's about creating a charismatic, seductive persona for the candidate. Advertising almost never uses a hard sell anymore. It uses the soft sell. It hints at a better life. It creates a fantasy around a product. The media creates these stars who are like modern gods and goddesses, distant but totally fascinating. Even personal branding on social media is a form of seduction. And this really gets to the end game. Whether it's one-on-one or on a mass scale, the goal is exactly the same: to create that moment where resistance just melts away, where emotion clouds reason, and the target, whether it's a lover or a voter, willingly surrenders.
Ultimately, once you understand this framework, you start to see its patterns absolutely everywhere, in ads, in politics, even in our own social lives. And so the book leaves us with this one final, powerful question. In this grand theater of life, are you the seducer or are you the seduced?